episode 9 of The Battle Vault, a no dice, no glory podcast dedicated to the world of Battlefront's 15mm tactical games, including Flames of War, World War III Team Yankee, Great War, Fate of the Nation, and NAM. I'm Ed, and I'm joined by my buddy Tom. So, Tom, what are we doing this time?
Hey, Ed, how you doing? So this is going to be a great episode. I'm hoping this will be the best that we've done to date of the 9 we've done. So we're gonna start off with mention and dispatches, recent Flames of War and Team Yankee tournament results. And yes, we have recent Team Yankee and Flames of War tournament results to go over. Also have some good intel on some of the list. And speaking of intel, then we're going to transition to our intelligence report. And we're going to take a preview, overview look of the Bagration Soviets, both the book and the command cards. We'll spill as much beans as we can here for the folks out there. And then we're going to go into a game. Ed and I are going to play a game tomorrow. He's coming up with a list out of the new Bagration Soviet book, and I'll take a German list, and we'll do an East Front battle. And so when we come back after one of the breaks, we'll tell you how the battle went. And that'll be a lot of fun. First time we've done that in one of our podcasts where we won't game during the podcast, but we'll take a break, do the game, come back and tell you how it went. So it's kind of a concept we had here for that. Then we're going to get into RFIs, requests for information. Our fan, he may be the only one, Rob Carper. He wants to know Ed and I's thoughts, like we have any, on running multiple formations in a force. But we do have some experience with this, so we'll go into some ideas and some thoughts about when and why you might want to run multiple formations within a force. Then we'll get into rules Ed forgot. I'm sure we'll have some tomorrow when we play our game.
I'm sure.
I don't know what they are yet, but we'll find out. And then we'll close out with a few drops and see what's coming up in the near future. So, anyways, a full menu, full schedule here for us to cover, and should be exciting stuff. Looking forward to getting into it. Certainly a lot you can get out of this podcast. But before we get into all that really cool stuff, let's get into some boring, mundane stuff. So, Ed, what have you been doing lately?
Sadly, it's true.
Well, you have been doing some gaming, and you have been doing some painting, and that's probably what our two fans want to hear about.
Okay, we've actually got a couple of games in. I was really enjoying the Gazala campaign that we were playing. It was good breaking out the North Africa forces and all my toys there. Yeah. And we had some good battles, and you kicked my tail very thoroughly, but I had fun doing it.
I was going to say, are you sure you enjoyed it? It seemed to me like you were getting
I hammered. Going to be beaten very thoroughly.
No, that was cool.
But it's always fun playing it and just getting out the games and playing. That's my relief.
You've also gotten a couple late war games in with our buddy Steve, right? From up in
Steve Payton. He's relatively new this year to playing the game, but he's a fantastic player and thoroughly knows the rules and very tactically smart about how he plays. He makes a good force. He's a fantastic painter, and he's playing German forces. And I've been able to break out my other toys that I don't go to tournaments with, but. I broke out my Americans and got to play those. That was fun. We'd had some bloody battles, but my Americans pulled it out. But it's only at the last moment, and it's good fights there. And I really enjoyed that. He broke out the first of the SS forces this last week, and pulled out his what was his name? The special card.
Whitman,
thank you very much. There's another thing
I even know, and I wasn't there.
you knew I was going to forget it at the time. I needed to remember.
Right. And what happened to Whitman?
Whitman. Lesson learned on this one: don't pop your ambush too close to the enemy. You want to get as many shots off as you can with Whitman. And he pulled it out turn one, came right at my American regular Sherman platoon. And he killed 2 out of 3 right off the bat. But I was close enough to pass a blitz and get on his flank. Even though he was in the woods, I needed 6s to hit him in the flank.
Yeah, 6s.
So I had three tanks needing 6s, and I rolled a 6-6-6-5-3. So 3 hits in the flank, and his defensive rolls were 1-1-2. And so not good. So 2 chances for a kill, 1 for a bail, and he died both with the kill shot. So no firepower fast.
So 48 points for you on turn 2, right off the bat.
Yeah, right off the bat. So lesson learned: pop your ambush at long range, and keep that guy on the board as long as possible. So you're only able to use it for 1 turn.
Well, you don't want to pop all ambushes at long range, but when your ambush is written by himself, because he's a single team and he's vulnerable. So, the way you get your money out of him is you keep him alive as long as possible. So he always needs to be at long range, and he doesn't worry about long range because he's got reroll misses, increased rate of fire. So what does he care about being close? So I'm sure Steve will remember that lesson.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. What have you been painting?
Well, that made all the difference because he didn't have with that one major point item there gone. I just overwhelmed him with the Americans. Yeah, even though he had tigers, and he was able to secure the objective that I was almost on turn. I was on turn 3, but he countered that, and so I was putting pressure on both objectives by turn 5, and eventually I took the other objective on the very last turn, which ended up being turn 6 or 7.
All right, and how's your painting going?
Oh, my painting's been great. I've been working on a British force to fight him with, so I've been painting up my Churchills, and I got the Daimler armored cars the other day to add to that force as well, and so I'm almost done with that. So 11 new Churchills, and the Daimlers to go with that, so I can play him with the British force this time.
Awesome, and most importantly, what is the status of your Great War French?
Well, they are. I could show you a picture. I've worked on 3 tanks.
Yeah, you know, I'm gonna badger you.
I know. I'm supposed to work on that. I know. I do have all the French minus the rifle platoons primed and based, and all the tanks are primed in at least one other color on them.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, gotcha.
So I am making a little headway, but I've been doing other things.
I'm pretty sure all our listeners want to hear was, I'm working on them slowly. Okay. All right, cool. So for me, I've been, you've already mentioned the games that we played for Gazala. I haven't really done any Flames of War or Team Yankee outside of that. So I've been trying some Mortem et Gloriam, some ancient rules. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to learn supposedly easy, fast play rules. I want to like them. I'm trying my best, but I'm having a hard time picking them up, having to watch a lot of videos. But they look like if I can break the code on it, if I can get a grip with them, they'll be pretty awesome. And for painting, I've been working on my early war French. Good chance. Well, they will definitely be done before our next podcast. So Company de Combat with Renault 35s, Char B1, the Lorraine 38 infantry, some of the AT, the all-terrain howitzers, and the some 25 millimeter anti-tank guns. So interesting little force. So nice little combined arms. I don't know if it's gonna be worth a damn in early war, but it'd be interesting. So that's where I'm at. So all right, well, let's transition into mention from dispatches. So we have 3 tournaments to talk about here. Ed, why don't you tell us about the first one?
Okay, let me get down to there. The first one. Let's see. This was what D6 August. Is that the name of the tournament? D6.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
All right. D6 Games is a game store in Rochester, Minnesota, near not too far from Minneapolis. So they're one of those. They run like events every other month. So they just put D6 on them.
Okay. So D6 August 2020. It was a 90.3 round tournament. It looks like we had 12 people at the tournament, and it was mid-war, if I didn't say that. And lo and behold, John Cederberg won the tournament. So very good. And he was playing the German forces. Followed closely by Ian Gall with a Soviet force. And then third place, Colton Oldenburg. and he was playing an American force, so a good spread of different forces from different nations there. Yeah, and we see an Italian person later on in the tournament. Do you want me to go down all the people that were there?
Okay. Yeah, sure. People want to.
Yeah,
they were there.
All right, so our next two ones, fourth and fifth place, we had J.B. Cedarberg, and we have Patrick Barkalow. And they were both playing Soviet forces. I'm not sure what kind of forces, but I'm kind of curious now. Sixth place, we have Ryan Paul playing Americans. Tom Gall playing Italians at seventh place.
Yep, Tom Gall's another no dice, no glory bidder.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In eighth place, Eric Satodalen. Okay, good German name there. Playing Americans.
Yeah.
Ninth place, Mike Hendrickson, spelled in a Norwegian type way.
Well, it is Minnesota, so you know.
Yeah, Minnesota. There you go. Figure that out.
Yeah.
And Bill Woyan, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Also playing German in 10th place. Ron Logue playing German in 11th, and finally Isaac Nix playing an American force.
All right, pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
I tried to get some list info for the top three because, like I said, Tom Gall was there, so I sent him a note. And then Patrick, I'm friends on Facebook with both of them, so I was trying to get some intel, but didn't get a chance to get any of that before we started recording tonight. So then we'll go into, and I love the name of this one. It's a smaller event, but this was at Leesburg, Virginia on August 15th. Operation Desert Norms. It was a 120-point Team Yankee event. And they had 8 players. And first was Patrick.
Yeah, West German.
Yeah, it can be done. First place was Patrick.
It can be done.
Yeah. He had 2, and Patrick won with 2 formations: a Martyr Infantry Company with the Leos attached, and then another formation that was a Leo Company with 109s, Gephards. So seems like a pretty good little balanced force. And then our another No Dice, No Glory contributor, Mitch Reed. He was second with Poles. And man, he rocked out a you gotta love this. He ran a Polish T-72 battalion with no less than 21 T-72s. Yeah.
There's no room left on the board.
Two companies of 10 in the headquarters. And on top of that, he had a BMP-1 formation and a BMP-1 company, and then the typical cheap, Gaskins and Spandrels, and and he had the Polish. What are those super guns that have the double rate of fire, or the trucks that are armored that have the gun and a turret in the middle of the truck?
Oh,
some sort of funky Soviet. Yeah, he had those too. And then third place was our good buddy John Holland.
John.
Yeah. He came in again running 2 formations. He had a Bradley Mech Company, so God, that must have been the first weekend those books were out.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Yeah.
And they had a platoon of M1Ps, which makes sense, and mortars. And the second formation was a Humvee cab troop, so a bunch of Humvees with good old tows and stuff. And then he had Lav 80A, M109 battery, so pretty good little force there. And then to round it out, had William White come in fourth, playing Americans. Dane Van Norden playing Soviets at fifth. Howard West with East Germans at sixth. Oh, Howard drove all the way out to Virginia. He went from Pittsburgh all the way out there. And then the next weekend, he was out in, Ohio. And then number 7, Bill Balding playing U.S. And then bringing up the rear, Cody Vaughn with Vaughan with
Vaughn. You're right.
With the U.S. So pretty good. Glad small event for that area, but that's pretty cool to see a nice, good Team Yankee event. And so, all right, why don't you just go ahead and just quickly run down the top the players here and what they played, and then we'll go into their lists. Because we have the complete list for the top 3.
This was the tournament on the 15th of August in Newark, Ohio. GTA Flames Late, 100-point game, 3-round tournament. And, I'll go down the list quickly. We had 18 players at this tournament, so bless them for doing so.
GTA is Game Table Adventures. That's the name of the store that they game at in Newark.
Game Table Adventures.
Yep. All right. Continue on, please.
Okay. John Mayer won this tournament with the German force.
Okay.
And you're going to go over the force here in a minute that he had?
Yeah. Just rattle down the list, and then we'll go back and hit the top 3 forces.
Okay. All right. Second place, you had James Best with the British.
Yep.
Third place, Chris Fretz with playing as Americans.
Able Company. Nice.
Yep. Able Company. It followed by Joe Lewis. Go figure.
Yeah.
With British. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. John DeVubic?
The D is probably silent. It's probably Zubek.
Zubek.
Yeah. It's probably a silent D. Yeah. German.
Okay. Playing German. Dick Herchanik, our buddy.
Dirty Dick Herchanik. Yeah. Playing Brits. Yeah. He's
playing
a
Brits. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Mike Schwill?
Probably. Schwill, German. Yeah.
Yeah. Playing German. That's good. Roger Baker playing American.
Barker.
Barker. Sorry.
Yep. American.
Barker. Christian Bach, we know him playing American.
Mm-hmm.
Joe
Durkop.
Durkop.
Yeah, and he's at 10th.
Okay, 10th place playing German. Yeah. Mitchell Tier playing Soviet.
Yeah, it's Carl's boy.
Carl's son. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rich Bear playing British in 12th. Tyson Sugart playing British.
Yeah.
Lee Hauer playing German in 14th place. Alan Wright, look at that, 15th place playing British. Good job, Alan.
Yeah.
And James Best Jr. There you go. I'm used to seeing him at the top of the list. He was playing German.
Must have had a bad day.
Must have been. Yeah. Carl Tier. Okay, we know him too. Playing British also.
Yeah.
And then Tim
McClellan.
God almighty.
Yeah.
McClellan playing Americans, rounding up the chart there. So
and he must have. I wonder what because Tim's a really good player, super good. So I bet sometimes it happens. Just have a bad day, a couple bad matchups, and you're so down at the bottom. So cool. Well, let's go take a look at the list.
I'm curious.
With John Myers, he was running Armored Panzer Grenadier Company out of the Fortress Europe book.
Okay.
And he had the one platoon in half tracks, one platoon without, attached mortars, the 4 8-centimeter mortars, the 3 pack 75s. And then for support, he had a reconnaissance troop with a SD 222, 221s, HS 129 air support, a Ferdinand, a single Ferdinand, and then 3 Tiger platoons from the a 3 Tiger tank platoon. And but then he used I'm not so sure. I mean, we have to do some research. He used the D-Day command cards for the 116th Panzer Division Greyhound to upgrade those or downgrade those that formation. That bought him 10 points. I'm not so sure that you can use. I'm not so sure you can take the D-Day German command card with a Fortress Europe German list. So.
I think you actually maybe.
Okay, well, I have to do some research on that. But anyway, so that's what he won with. Why don't you cover the next one? That would be James Best Senior's list.
Well, he's got a lot of stuff there. He's playing the British force there, and it was a rifle company was his main formation.
Yeah.
So he had that 2 platoons of infantry, some mortars, the 3-inch mortars.
Short platoons. They weren't.
Yes, small. Yeah, you are correct. Those are short platoons, so 7-pointers each.
Yeah.
Of course, he had the mortars. You got to take those, and he had 2 patrols of Wasp. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then 2 universal carrier patrols there with machine guns. Oh, here you go. Here's his heavy hitters. In support, he had 2 platoons of 4 Achilles M10. 17-pounders there, so pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And my favorite is Typhoon fighter bomber air support there.
Mm-hmm.
So I like my aircraft.
Yep.
In addition to that, he also had a commando section, a small commando section. Again, just 5 Bren teams, a Piat, and a 2-inch mortar. That's for 10 points. And then he had 2 cards. He had the 4.2-inch mortar command card.
Yeah, which actually gives him a platoon of mortars. That's why it's 9 points.
Okay, I was wondering why, because I didn't know that one.
Yeah.
Okay, and he also had the Stan Hollis card there for 3 more points.
Yep.
Wow, that is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, great force. Really, I really like the look of that. Especially with the 2 units. I have one. I just not long ago finished 1 platoon of M10 Achilles, and
I did too.
I guess I need to get another one. So I really like the way they came out. I painted them as Guards Armor Division and did the Mickey Mouse camouflage on them. I really like those the look of those models. So I could definitely
the Mickey Mouse with the wavy black
black kind of circle, look like Mickey Mouse ears. Yeah, indeed. All right, well let's so good list. I might have to look at running that myself sometime. And then Chris Fretz, number 3, playing a stereotypical Chris Fretz list.
So American infantry with his free French have got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, they don't call him U.S. Chris for nothing. Yeah,
sure enough, there it is. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah, so he runs 2 full platoons of rifles with mortar platoon, 81 millimeter mortar platoon, and a 60 millimeter mortar platoon. That's his formation. Yeah. So that's a lot of, there's hard to get at those mortars. That formation will hang in for a while. And then Greyhounds in support, Priest in support, the half-track anti-aircraft guns, M15, M16s, 76 millimeter Shermans, 4 of those, 5 Stuarts, and 4 tank destroyers. So he's got plenty of 76 millimeter guns.
Plenty of firepower there, yeah.
And then he's got as always, his Free French infantry platoon. And he took the 2nd Infantry Division Indian Head command card.
I'm not sure what that does.
I think it lets him put in more submachine guns. It may have something else to do with additional, like moving through terrain, cross-country dashes through rough terrain or something.
I guess each card is for a platoon because he got 2 of them.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Well, cool. Anyway, so there you go. That's the 3 events that have happened so far in August, and that's pretty good with the current conditions. Sorry, that scratching noise is my dog under my feet trying to make a nest in the carpet. Anyways, so that's 3 tournaments, and was a 12-player, 18-player, and then an 8-player. So that's 38 game slots played in August, which is, you just got to say that's pretty incredible given the current environment we're under. I'm sure everybody required all masks, but to get that many people together for tournaments in this time is pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
indeed. All right, let's take a break and then we'll come back and we'll dig into Bagration, Bagration. Yeah, the big event, and I'm sure we'll lead in with that with some glorious patriotic music from the motherland for you all. All right,
there you go.
All right, we'll be back in a minute.
Take
All right, now the moment that you've all been waiting for, the Bagration Soviet preview. So, Ed, what are your thoughts about this book?
I'm very happy.
Really? I can tell.
I've been waiting for this thing to come out for a while so I can break out my Russian heavy hitters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So finally they make an appearance.
Yeah. And what do you think this is going to do? What do you think this is going to do for the Flames of War scene now that, or once we get through this COVID mess?
Well, it gives us a whole nother option now. And I think people are going to be really happy, especially those guys who already have their old stuff out.
Of course.
So now they get to play with their old stuff again, and that's that with me. And the thing is, I had made an IS-2 heavy tank force a while back and never got to play it. So take a guess what I'm going to be playing you tomorrow.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic.
Yep.
I'll run some variation of John Mayer's force that he used last weekend.
Okay, that'll be good.
I'll try to emulate it as accurately as possible, and we'll see what we do with that. So, cool. All right. Well, let's get into it. So, what do we got here in this awesome tome?
Of course, it's a good history rundown of Operation Bagration, and
nobody wants to hear that stuff. They want to hear about the meat, man. What do we got for units in here?
Okay, well, let's start it from the top there with the IS-2 force. Okay. And so your IS-2 slash your IS-85 tanks there. IS-85 is also referred to sometimes as IS-1s. So they were running through their 85s and finally decided to upgrade it to the 122 gun with the IS-2. And so they're both represented here in the game. And with the IS-2, you're only going to get a rate of fire 1, but it's got a sweet hit with a 14 anti-tank and a 2+ firepower. So pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Nothing new for version 3 players. The armor 10.82 moves 10 inches. It's a little faster than it used to be, right?
Yes, that's right.
Good cross check 3+.
Yeah, its cross check is still 3+, so it's got the normal tank stats pretty much.
Yeah, aggressive.
It is aggressive. Hit on a 3+. They are veterans.
Yeah,
and they got a 3+ last stand too. Really nice, really nice.
Yeah, and a 3+ counterattack. So these are good tanks to throw in the mix. And pretty awesome ride. So what are we going to pay to get these on the board?
Well, for the headquarters platoon, you're going to pay 7 points for it, and then which is not bad. And then when you get down to the platoons, you get 3 of them for 22, 4 for 30, and then 5 for 37.
All right, so they're basically 7-point-something points each.
Right. Yeah.
All right,
a little over 7 points each.
Yeah, pretty awesome. And if you take the formation, you could have up to 4 companies of these things. 4 companies being up to 5 tanks, and the regiment. I just like the idea that with 21 models, you have a full regiment, and then they also have an internal infantry unit, which could be either the submachine gunner, hero submachine gun company, or the engineer sapper guys. Ooh, engineer sappers. That's
engineer sappers.
Yeah,
as part of. And then for those guys that haven't done that before, they got the smoke pot capability.
Well, let us hold off on those until we get to them. But
okay, we can do that.
All right, and then IS-85 is pretty much the same armor and movement stats, but instead of the big 122, it has the 85 millimeter gun with a rate of fire 2. And
that's correct. That is
now
correct.
We like to try to bring in external folks, and we wanted to try to get Aaron McChesney Preston on board for this because he's been play testing these and. He has some pretty good thoughts on him, and but he's traveling today, and we need to get this thing done so we could get it out by the release date. Yeah. So we're going to miss him on this. We like to bring in smart people occasionally to talk to you, so you don't have to just hear our mindless babbling all the time.
Well, you don't have to, hear Ed and then him forgetting what he was supposed to say.
yeah. But he prefers the IS-85s.
Yes, and you can see why in the book too. The IS-85s you would think would cost less than the IS-2, but that's not the case.
They're about a point more.
And here's the difference. Why? The 85 millimeter gun gets a rate of fire 2 halted, but because it's lighter weight, it gets a 2+ cross. And let's see what else. No other difference though. But the point value is 8 points each, and it's straight up 8 points for each one of those things. So you can have a separate formation with just IS-85s if you wish. Mm-hmm. In the IS-2 formation, you can actually have your second platoon be an IS-85 platoon. Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
All right, and then we roll into the heavy self-propelled artillery regiment, which would be your ISU 122s and 152s. So what do we got going on here?
Yeah, the 122s with the long barrel 122. It's got great stats on that as well. Let's see. My first one shows the 152. So let's go ahead and start with the 152 then. The heavy gun there. It looks like the commander for that is going to be a regular IS-2
tank. Same as we had in version 3.
Same version. Yeah.
You could have four companies of 5 tanks each, and then the infantry company. So that's what makes up your formation options.
Yes.
And
the same infantry options there. You got the engineer possibilities too. Yeah, the IS 122. Let's do the 122. The 122 has that sweet long barrel gun. Again, it's going to get a 14 anti-tank value there. Good range on that. Good range, sorta. They also allow it to fire indirect, so it's got an indirect of 72 inches, but a direct fire of only 28 inches. Good 14 anti-tank 2+ kill, so that's pretty good.
So wait a minute, they're letting the 122 bombard?
Fire indirect artillery, yes, they sure are.
For the 122?
122 and the 152.
Yeah, that's
correct.
That's pretty amazing. I didn't know. I was not expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that too.
Yeah, I was wondering why. So they're the same stats you'd expect. 982. They're also aggressive hit on 3s, but the morale's not nearly as good. Last stand 3+, but counterattack only a 5+, and they're only trained, so they won't blitz and they won't shoot and scoot as well, and they only assault on a 5+ because they're trained, assault guns. But man, with that artillery capability, I was thinking, because I have a bunch of IS 122s, and I was thinking, oh man, I should build a platoon, or in this case, a company of 152, so one of the platoons can bombard. But now they all can bombard, and so if you take
that is correct.
Yeah. Oh, and you can get them in small units of up to. You can go all the way down to 2. So you get them 2, 3, 4, 5, and they're basically about 6.5 points each. So I'm surprised I was
7.5, about 7.5 points each.
No, 6.5. What's 13 divided by 2?
What's that?
For the IS 122s?
7.5.
The IS 122s? What are the cost?
Oh, hold it, 122. I'm looking at the 152s. Hang on.
Yeah, all right. Well,
we were talking. There you go. Yeah, right.
I was talking 122s.
Okay, so yeah.
The 122s are about 6.5 points each. The 152s are about 7.5 points each. The 152s, of course, having the much better firepower and bombardment and auto on direct fire, but they only are AT-13 on direct fire, and only range of 20 inches. That's still tempting, but the range trained in on 4+. Man, I tell you what, you don't range in with these things. That's a lot of horsepower sitting there doing nothing.
That's right. Oh, yeah, but it's got good armor. It's got that good top armor, so it's great. Good defense for counter battery fire. So. Oh yeah,
they're not worried about that at all. They're not good at assaulting infantry. They just have to blast them out of their holes.
Just stick it behind your objective for possible direct fire. Defense for the objective, and otherwise just leave it back there and start popping rounds out.
Well, I have 9 ISU 122s painted and assembled, and the IS-2 command tank to go with them. And then I have another 4 that are in blisters. So I could potentially run 4 companies of 3 or 3 companies of 4 here pretty quickly. I may have to take a look at that. All right, cool. So let's move off the heavies to the mediums.
Medium self-propel. So now you're looking at SU-85s and SU-100s.
Yep.
So, of course, the formation commander is going to be a T-34-85.
Okay.
And so if you're running the SU-85s, you can get 5 of those for 28 points. Okay, normal stats, no change in stats there, a 5.51 armor. Hit on 4s.
Yeah, they're careful.
They got careful, and they're also fearless with the 3+.
Yeah.
And a counterattack of 4+. Pretty good.
Yeah, and assault of only 5+. Again, no turret, no extra machine guns.
Yeah, you don't want to assault with a tank destroyer. No
extra machine guns. No machine guns. There's no machine guns.
No machine gun at all. None.
Yeah, wow.
Not even an option to get one.
Yeah, so 3 of them. So they're roughly 5 points and some change a piece. So a good bit cheaper. Not nearly as much armor, but also not hit nearly as much with that careful. And better at the blitz and the shoot and scoot. So, again, if you take Aaron's philosophy of the maybe these guys, of course they don't bombard, but maybe the medium self-propelled artillery regiment, maybe you take a good hard look at these guys. For that more AT-12 firepower that are hit on 4s. That's pretty. Yeah, it might be something to consider. All right.
They got a 28-inch range, though. No change there in the 85 millimeter gun.
Yeah.
Then you have your SU-85Ms, which bumps up its armor by 2 in the front, which is pretty good, but it also affects its cross ability by adding all that extra weight.
Yeah. So I think if I'm going to be doing this, I might as well just go all the way up to 122s. They're half a point more per tank.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I don't see SU-85s being too particularly interesting or commonly selected.
Yeah, but that 4+ on the hit is a good deal.
Yeah, but that 9 armor is also a good deal, and the 2 on the top. So it's gives some. So
true.
We'll see. And then the SU-100.
Then you talk in the SU-100s. Now, unlike in the previous version, this version has a 7 armor. Up front. It still has the same stats as far as the hits on 4, and fearless and vets 3+. Still good there. With the 100, you got an anti-tank of 15 with a 2+ firepower. Yeah, and a range of 32. So pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
Also
the
slow
costs
firing.
on these guys are going to be what's that? Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course it's going to be. Okay, but the thing is, you can get 5 of these things for 31 points, so not bad.
Yeah, but check out their cross-check.
Yeah, cross-check. It's heavy, and it has a heavy gun weighing it down. It's going to be a 5+ cross, so you're just hiding behind the woods. You're not hiding in the woods.
Yeah, you better instead of putting 5+, you better never put in the woods ever.
Ever.
Just put it in the block, right? Never cross a stream. Never get in the woods. So, that's but range though 32 inch, a little bit more of a standoff capability. So
yes,
yeah, and they're only the SU-100s are 6 and some change, so they're only a little bit more than the SU-85.
Yeah, a little bit more than the SU-85M. Yeah.
All right, and then we get a little lighter on the assault guns.
Then you got the little SU-76s. And the commander for that's going to be in a little T-70, which is pretty cool. You can have up to 4 platoons in your formation, but you got to have the first 2, of course. And you can have the submachine gun company or the hero submachine gun company for your support there.
Oh yeah, they don't get the
they don't get the engineers. No.
Yeah. Okay.
No engineers there. And
neither do the medium artillery regiment. They just get the hero and regular submachine gun infantry.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Groovy. Good price. Of course, they can do their bombardment and all that kind of stuff. You can get 5 of them for 13 points.
Yeah, they're the same stats as mid-war. There's nothing.
Yeah, same stats. Yeah. Okay. The other battalion you can get is the Sapper Engineer Battalion, which is really cool.
Let me get these guys.
Yeah. Okay. You've been wanting to do that. Okay. Go ahead.
I got my eyes on these boys.
Yes.
So, they're pretty damn awesome. they're aggressive, hit on 3s, but they infantry tactics are a 3+, otherwise skills of 4, fearless, just awesome, and they have some really cool weapon upgrades. They're basically 9 points for a small platoon, 18 points for a medium, and 27 points for a large platoon, and that's basically 20. And they're mostly submachine gunners with 1 or 2 DPMG teams. So basically, they're effectively also machine gunners. But you can equip 2 teams. You can equip Panzerfaust to the platoon for 2 points. And that's Panzerfaust limited to. So basically, any given point, just like the German Panzerfaust, 2 of these teams can have a Panzerfaust. Pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
And they have the other upgrades, PTRDs, Maxim, flamethrowers, mortars. Yeah, you can put up to 6 mortars right in the unit with them. So you can kind of do the storm group thing with these guys. And my favorite thing that just kind of blew my mind when I saw it was the smoke pots. So
smoke.
Yeah. And if you recall in version 3, the way smoke pots work, you said, I'm using smoke pots, and for that assault, and only during the assault, those teams were considered concealed. This one now actually puts out smoke. And so it's limited to And basically it's bombardment that's fired. It has a range of 4 inches from a couple of your teams, and it puts out a smoke screen, an actual 8 inches of smoke from that point forward. So that's pretty awesome. And it's real smoke, so you can actually now use it for other things besides just assaulting. Like you could throw out smoke just to cover the Su-100s that are rumbling right behind you, right? You don't have to assault. You could use, because what has been the number one drawback of playing Soviets? Smoke, right? I mean, not having any smoke bombardment, no ability. And we're going to come back to that when we get to the command cards. But this is a unit that might be very worthwhile to take as a support unit in some of those formations we just talked about, specifically to have them run out and throw some smoke to give you some clear, movement. So while you're moving with those slow firing, rate of fire 1 guns, you can keep them completely screened off until the next turn, and then unmask them and blaze away. So very cool formation with these guys. So very excited about them. And after that, I guess we get into the rifle units, Hero Shock rifles. Mm-hmm. So these guys are basically your Udarny Strelkovi from the version 3. They are aggressive, mm-hmm. and they are fearless, and they are veteran. And
hey Tom, one thing you didn't mention about your sappers is they got that.
Oh yeah, it's fairly significant. Yeah, so body armor, same rule as version 3. They have a 6+, invulnerable save from close combat. So not anybody's want to get close to them anyways with all the flamethrowers and submachine guns, but just somebody does, or they counterattack against you is pretty good. So back to the Hero Shock rifles, big formation, lots of stuff that you'd expect in there. I don't want to get too much into the details. They're basically 8 points for a small unit and 11 for a full. They're not fearless. I'm sorry, I said they were fearless, but they're confident, but their commissar makes them 3+ on the morale while the commissar is alive. And they have some pretty good options of PTRDs and flamethrowers and Maxims that can go in. And they also can take one unit as a storm group, which can have all sorts of variations of equipment in there. So they're pretty awesome. Just a neat. I used to play the Udarny Strelkovi in version 3, so I'll definitely be getting these guys out. And although I'm going to have to do them as the all submachine gun versions. Nope, they don't have that. They only have.
They don't have that.
I sold all my rifle armed Soviets, so all I have left are my SMG guys. So maybe I won't be able to play these guys. Oh well, we'll see.
Then you can always borrow mine. I've got more than enough.
You do. Then they got the regular rifle battalion. Not going to go into great details here. Pretty much the same as mid-war kind of formation. They have the rifle Strelkovi battalion, and then they have the hero ones. But also they have the penal company. This was like when they had Pilchin, remember? And these guys would go out and clear the minefields with their bodies. And they're 18 points for a small unit, and by small unit that has 16 teams. And then 26 points and they're all submachine guns, nothing but submachine guns.
Yeah.
And they are aggressive, hit on 3s. I'm surprised they're not hit on like 2s or something. But anyways, hit on 3s. They got a fearless with a 2+ morale while the commissar's alive. They're green, but they're 3+ in the assault. So they're not going to be doing any sort of blitzes or other kind of skill checks. Their tactics is even worse. Tactics is a 6. And they're not going to clear minefields very well and dig in very well. But when they come into the assault, they hit on 3s. So pretty interesting options there. Mm-hmm. Scouts, we've had those before. Yeah. Special, and so that's pretty much. We also get the hero infantry option. Now, I think that's a command card that will come later. So pretty awesome. So let's roll back into the tanks. Now we get into the meat and potatoes of the Soviet Army. Go ahead.
Okay. What else? What else about the tanks do you want to talk about?
We're getting the T-34 formations.
Okay.
Yep. So you got the Hero T-34s and the regular T-34s. They come in. So basically, you have 4 different formations: Hero 85, regular 85, Hero 76, regular 76. They can have the headquarters tank in 3 platoons or 3 companies. They can also have an anti-aircraft, the U.S. M17 anti-aircraft platoon. They can have an SMG company. Really nice. They have their own 8 medium mortars, and they also have some towed anti-tank guns they can bring along with them. 45s, 57s, or 76s. So they're pretty good. The T-3045 is roughly 4 points and some change each. 3 of them come in at 13 points. And the ZSU M17 anti-aircraft, they're 3 points for a unit of 3. That's probably a pretty good bar. I don't generally take anti-aircraft, but that's got a good amount of being in the
Yeah, the ZSU 17s. Yeah, those are worth taking.
I kind of dig them. They're all G'd up with a bunch of 50 cals. And yep. All right, and then stat wise, the hero tanks, they're aggressive, hit on 3s. They're trained, but have a tactics skill of 3+. So they'll be very good at blitz and shoot and scoot and all those great things. And they're confident, just confident morale. And you can also take as one of your companies, you have to have at least one company of T-34s, but the second company could also be a T-70 tank company or a Valentine tank company. So you can get some little Soviet Valentines mixed in there. I like the way the
Yeah, the T-70s are still 1 point apiece, so it's not bad to buff your army up with a little bit with those mobile pill boxes.
Yeah, but it's only a company of 3 tanks that you can get, so it's pretty.
Yeah, that heroes. But if you get the regular T-70 tank company, you can get up to 7.
And then we get the motor rifle battalion with a ton of options. Look at that, T-34 is right there in the formation. Not even a support. So really good combined arms force, recon. It's got everything all within the formation. You wouldn't even have to get anything.
Yeah,
wouldn't have to get anything out. You could have 3 companies of motor rifles, company of submachine guns, company of machine guns, company of 82 millimeter mortars, company of 120 mortars, or another company of 80s. Anti-tank guns, either the 45 or 57, and a separate unit of 76. Recon guys, both the mounted infantry recon, the armored car BA-64s, and the anti-aircraft platoon, CSUs again. So pretty good force there, and they're pretty much just like they were mid-war as far as stats. Aggressive, hit on 3s, veteran for skills, but 2+ in the assault. So pretty, because they're submachine guns coming in the assault. They're pretty good killers. Kind of pretty interesting force here. What else we got in here? Oh, see those haystacks? That page 50?
I'm looking for those haystacks. You mentioned it the other day.
Yeah, scroll down to page 50.
Page 50.
Yeah.
No, I passed it up.
Yep. Anyways, scroll up to page 50. They have these haystacks in there. They're huge. They're
look at those haystacks. They're freaking.
They're huge haystacks.
Huge.
Yeah, and they're coming out with haystacks. They're listed in some of the terrain releases coming up. So I'm wondering if that's a preview of the East Front haystacks. And these things are just massive. They could hide a house in these things. And they have ladders that go up the outside of them. I mean, like fireman ladders. So they're quite tall. They're way taller than the tiger that's sitting by them.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Pretty cool.
Something new to buy.
All right, we don't need to talk about the T-34 76s. They're pretty much same as the 85, same options. Motor rifle, non-hero, just same deal. They're just trained, and they assault on 3s. That's still pretty damn good. Recon company is a separate formation now. A bunch of the M3 scout cars, but you can switch these out with German
UCs.
Well, that's a command card. We'll talk about those later. And then we get the captured German half tracks that you can take. So you give up the 50 cal for the standard machine gun, the standard MG. But standard MG, though they're both self-defense for AA, that's good. But the cross check is much better on the half track. It's 3+, and it moves a lot faster. The M3 scout car only has a tactical speed of 8. Tactical speed of 8 compared to 10 of the half track. So something to keep in mind there. So I have a bunch of universal carriers, and Ed kind of already indicated that yes, we will have a command card, so you'll also be able to take the universal carrier option with these guys. So good force.
Okay, cool.
Now we're to the support units. OT-34 Flame Tank Company. Okay. This only the T-34 version. Same. I think we had these in mid-war, right?
Yes, we did.
And then the KV-8 flame tank company, which we definitely had at war.
Yep, we got those.
Yeah, we definitely had those because you definitely used them against me. So
that's right.
Then the light tank killer company, you can still get 45 millimeter anti-tank guns, and you may wonder, like, why would I take 45 millimeter anti-tank guns in late war? But man, they're damn cheap. They're less than 2 points per gun. They have 88, so they can take out a Sherman and a Panzer IV and any light tanks, and they can wreak havoc on those universal carriers and scout cars and stuff. So I think
you go ahead and hide your people in that building. I just roll these things up and start pecking them off.
Yeah, I remember in the old days they had rate of fire 3, but they're still pretty useful. And their cross checks are 3+. Not bad for a gun, right? To get into woods and buildings and stuff. Well, I guess you can't put in buildings. But, then you get the 57, 76. Now, when you take the 76 as a tank killer company, they're hit on 4+, but they cannot bombard. They're just direct fire only. And something I have never seen, the 100 millimeter towed anti-tank gun. I have never seen these. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, those are the old what do they call them? B3?
BS3s.
B3.
BS3. Bravo Sierra -3. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and they're that AT-15 gun with a 2+ firepower. So and they're about 2.5 points apiece. So that's maybe considerable. Yeah, but there's so many templates in late war. American mortars everywhere. So these guys may have a hard time staying alive for too long, but they are careful. So they're only hit on 4s.
Hit on 4s, but they only save on 4s. Sadly,
could be a good ambush unit. We're playing defending infantry. Katyushas, and
same as you.
Same as mid-war. Ed's got them. 76 millimeter artillery, which can bombard or direct fire. Then the M122 artillery, and then 152 artillery. So we actually have some heavy guns now. 152s. So
that's right. 152s making their showing now. A whole battery of them for 12 points.
Is this the first time in version 4 where we've had towed heavy artillery?
Yes,
because we've had mediums aplenty.
Yeah, right. This is the first time.
BA-64s, so you don't have to just stick with those old BA-10s.
Yeah, and you got the 64 OP for 1 point. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at that. I didn't notice that. Okay, yeah, cool. And then it's weird. Did they use BA-64s as OPs?
Yeah, sure.
Huh. Interesting.
Quick mobility on the fire on the battlefield.
Well, I don't ever remember version 3 that being an option for you. I just All right. Stormoviks, 2 flavors, heavy and light.
Heavy and light.
7 points and 10 points. And the 10.1 has 37 millimeter guns that are AT8 firepower 4+. So those would be the tip. The old ones were called the something IL2 Stormovik tip something TIP. Yeah, and the cheaper ones only have AT6. I'd go with the cheaper ones. I'd be all about the rockets anyways. All righty, and so that covers the quick rundown, quick and dirty. We've been going for about 30 minutes, but we have the command card still to come up. So pretty good options. I think I'm excited, but I'm also depressed because I know you're more excited and you like to play Soviets more than me. So even though we both have Soviets, so I think my ISU 122s will make an appearance. Got to get those on the board, and I'll finish up my submachine gunner blisters and my universal carriers and do a reconnaissance formation.
That's really cool.
Kind of fun to play those. So we'll have a good option. So we'll look forward to our game tomorrow. And do you have your list made up yet?
Yes, I do.
You want to run down what you're going to run?
Oh, not yet.
Okay. Think about it more.
I added it up.
Okay, no problem. We'll let you adjust. We'll cover it when we come back from one of the breaks.
Speedball is lame. Hard Knocks Games is awesome. You can get board games, trading card games, role-playing games, hobby supplies and tools, Gundam, Warhammer, and more. Find us on Facebook or hardknocksgames.com or visit us on the Dixie Highway.
All right. So now let's
Okay.
rock into the command cards. Pretty interesting. Really have changed. I mean, they have some very, very unique command cards that no other had before. They got the lucky, great. But then they also have the make your own luck card. And that's only 1 point. And what it does is it lets you decide that a roll of a die is automatically going to be a 4, and you do not roll the die. So it's an automatic roll of a 4 on one-time use with a 1 point cost. That could be kind of interesting. Like, yeah, I can't afford to roll the dice on this last stand. I'm just going to play this card. They automatically pass. Or I have to make this blitz move. Put that card down. They automatically pass. It's limited, so I guess you only get one of them, but that's a pretty cool card.
Yeah, it is.
Ditching logs, love these for the T-34 units. Actually, any tank can take them, and it basically it gets the reroll cross checks, which have occasionally been your bane when you try to move through the woods with with tanks.
How many points
1
is
point
that?
for the whole unit. So you popping this on a full company of T-34s, I mean, that could be pretty critical. That they all get positioned, they all get to do what they want to do. Oh, now this one is the RPG-6 anti-tank grenades. Every Soviet unit's going to have these. You're never going to play and not run these when you have Soviet infantry. And and it says just infantry, so that means the sappers can take these on top of the RPG, the Panzerfaust that they have. And the way they work is they're basically a bazooka that does not shoot. And by that I mean that there's no defensive fire, but in close combat, a hit from these things, you take an AT-10 firepower 5+ hit on your side armor for a tank. So effectively in melee, they're the same as a bazooka. They just don't have the shot, defensive fire shot as they come in. I guess these are do you know anything about RPG-6 anti-tank grenades? Are these magnetic?
I thought those were rifle grenades.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about.
Well, they could be really short range. Maybe they are projected, but the basically the only way you get to use them is close combat when you're actually swinging to hit and during an assault. So yeah, I don't know why they made this as a card because it's going to be every.
How many points?
1 point for the whole unit, and they never go away. They're not like Panzer knockers where like one-time use or sticky bombs in mid-war. This is 1 point the whole game. 2 of your teams can swing with these things, and put those on top of the Panzerfaust of the assault sapper guys, and man, that's going to be quite a bit to chew through. Sapper card, pretty much better minefield cross, better dig in, great. Hero sappers cost a little bit more for heroes to take it. Old minefields, we've seen that. Same as the German card in the D-Day book, old minefields. Partisan raids. 2 points. Your opponent has to re-roll all the reserve dice this turn. So it's gonna be pretty awesome if they get that roll of like first turn reserves. Pop this down and they have to re-roll it, but it's 2 points. Partisan recon for 1 point lets you re-roll one of your scattered reserve rolls. Oh no, Chris, you don't re-roll it. You roll 2 dice and you pick the one you want. So that's helpful. Partisan guides, discard this, and then you get an extra die. So of like on turn 1, you could put this and you would get to roll 2 dice instead of 1 for reserves. And if you take it on turn 2 to bump up to 3 dice, you don't get the automatic one. It still says it does not entitle you to the automatic arrival of. So that's pretty cool.
You're right, because it's turn 2.
Yeah,
right.
and then another thing that you're going to see in every Soviet force, partisan band. So basically, you take one of your rifle companies and you turn it into a partisan unit. And it's aggressive, hit on 3s, confident for morale. No commissar, although the unit would have a take the regular LS 170 rifle company, and now they're partisans. And they pick up local knowledge, so they can go cross country through terrain when they dash. They use their cross country speed through terrain instead of the normal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and just like the Free French, they count as being in reserve even when they're on. So I think this is going to be a very popular choice, and you can give them the AT-6 anti-tank grenades. So RPG 6. So pretty, because they're infantry, right?
Wow.
They're partisans, but they're still infantry, and they basically just take a regular rifle company. So I'm pretty impressed with these. I guess you would only you wouldn't take the hero rifles because that's kind of a waste, because they're going to be downgraded stats anyways. Right. Maskarovoka, 1 point. You can move one of your. This is the same as mid-war. Reposition an enemy ranged in mark by 6 inches. Reconnaissance by combat. That's like the British artillery expert. You can relocate any one of your ranged in markers, but cost 2 points. British only pay 1. Okay, and here's the big card. I could not believe it I shouldn't say I couldn't believe it. When I first heard about command cards coming out, one of my first thoughts was like, man, this really gives cool options and different things that we've never had before. And I said very early on, this could be even used to do something like give Soviets smoke, right? Because, they didn't traditionally have a lot of smoke, but it allows you now to pay extra to get smoke in some cases. And so that's exactly what this card does. It's called Under the Cover of Smoke. Costs 3 points. And it works a little bit differently from other smoke. It is an upgrade, so you must have the SU-76, correction. You must have the 76 millimeter towed battery or the 122 towed battery. So you have to have one of those two kinds of batteries, and it's an upgrade for one of those units. And then it basically allows you to, during the time when you put in ranged in markers, instead of putting in a ranged in marker for this unit, you actually put out a smoke screen. So 4 tubes, you're talking 16-inch smoke screen. It goes out before the game starts, so it's like preparatory smoke bombardment, and then it stays there till the end of turn 2. So that's the defender's turn 2. So that's 2 full turns that you have a 16-inch smoke screen out in front of your assaulting T-34s. Pretty darn awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That put you to sleep, Ed?
No, I'm just thinking about how I could use it.
Yeah, you better think about you. I mean, it's 3 points for a one-time use, but, well, technically 2-time use because it stays in place for the first turn and the second turn. So you could really close down a flank or just, if you had a bunch of T-34s and you just wanted them to scream right up behind that smoke screen, man. We used to say that the reason the Soviets –
that would be the way.
Yeah, we used to say the Soviets don't have smoke because if they had smoke, be unbeatable. So now we have a chance to test that theory. So pretty cool. I'm very, very excited to see that. I'm very glad that I wish that they had this for other armies too. That even though that they have smoke, that they could use a command card to buy an extra salvo of smoke, so they could shoot like twice a game, or at some other point. So something to think about. Tanko Desaniki, this basically for 3 points lets you upgrade a submachine gun company. They get the right around tanks. They can shoot 1 team per tank at their full rate of fire, and they can also dismount when charging. So it's pretty cool. They can be riding the tanks, get within 4 inches, jump right off the tanks, and assault in the assault phase, which no other infantry can do right now. But 3 points for the unit. But again, if that unit is 20-some stands, might be worth it. Hero Desaniki, it's actually cheaper. It's only 1 point for the unit because for the Hero submachine gun guys, you pay more for them already. Then we have the Universal Carrier upgrade, right, that Ed was talking about earlier. So you can swap those out for your scouts. Then you have some, I won't go into these in great detail. You have Polish cards for the first Polish army. So you can run your Soviets as Poles. They become green and confident. And that basically reduces the points cost by 2 per unit. That's only for the infantry rifle battalion version. And then you can also get Polish T-34s, which actually go up in cost. And what they get is a stand to 3+ and a rally remount to 3. So they get protected ammo and last stand out of the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, what's really cool about Polish T-34s? White eagles on the side of the turrets. It's cool.
Oh yeah. The decal.
Yeah, the decal, the white eagle decal.
Yeah, you get the Polish eagle.
Yeah, very distinctive, kind of cool. I mean, you don't get a whole lot of detail and stuff with Soviets, so it's pretty interesting to put those on. Cossack regiment, same as mid-war. Hero Cossacks cavalry card, same as mid-war. Tachankanaka. This is basically
the
cavalry heavy machine guns. Did we have this in mid-war, Ed?
No, we had that in early war a long time ago.
Well, it infiltrated back into late war. So basically,
I can't remember. I don't remember them from mid-war. I don't remember having that.
Yeah,
option.
so it's basically, it's not a wagon like it was. It's just basically machine guns on horses, I guess. And they can't shoot. They're not concealed, so they can't be concealed in the open.
You would not have a Maxim machine gun on a horse. It would have to be in a cart. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that they'd be dismountable. They would get out there and dismount, and they can dismount to become normal machine guns anyways later on, like the carts could not do.
Right.
But you could model these as carts, but they're basically shot as infantry teams. Very cool option here. Naval Infantry Battalion. Was it Black Death was their nickname? And they're pretty awesome. Basically a rifle battalion. 4+ morale, but 3+ rally or unpinned. And the skill is only 4, but they get 3s in assaults, which is pretty good for a rifle battalion. You may have to look at that. Plus a great modeling opportunity. And they come both in the regular and the hero option. So we get guards rifles. So you can upgrade the guards, either your shock rifle, rifle battalion, hero motor, or motor rifle battalion. And they get their last stand on 3+, rally on 3+, and they're only confident, but the commissar makes them 3+ for morale. Yeah. And they're only they're only it's a 2-point upgrade, but that's for a lot of teams getting that upgrade. Right. Guard tanks. Oh, these are expensive. The guard's tank card, it costs 4 points per tank for T-34-85s, 3 points per tank for T-34-76, 2 points per hero T-34-85, and 1 point per T-34 normal tank. That's pricey.
I didn't hear it. It gives them what?
It gives them a 3+ remount and a 3+ last stand.
Oh, well,
yeah, but that's at 4 points a tank for a remount. That's kind of that seems pretty expensive to me.
Pretty expensive, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got more information for you on the RPG 6.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a hand grenade. Designed with a what's it called? The cone, the focused
shape charge.
I can't remember what shape charge. Thank you very much. Shape charge for able to penetrate 120 millimeters of thing, but it's handheld, and so you got to be pretty close to throw it on there.
That's why.
But that's what it looks like, a Panzerfaust grenade. It's in that same kind of shape, that the warhead on it, same kind of.
What, the guy throw it like a big dart or something? I mean, how does it get on the tank?
Yeah. It just looks like you took a Panzerfaust and you cut the very end off with the charge on it. Okay, so it doesn't have the rocket on it anymore. You just got the hollow
I understand that. I mean, so my question is, how does it get from Soviet riflemen to the tank?
By being very close.
Yeah, that's what I mean, do they throw it, or is it magnetic? Do they have to attach it, or?
I didn't see anything about it being magnetic at all.
So they throw it like a football.
It would make sense to be a magnetic mine, but it's with the rounded cone at the end. There's no way you would be able to attach it. So no, I would highly doubt it.
So they have to do like a freaking Roger Staubach. They go deep and throw.
Go deep and let that heavy end of the grenade land first, and you're good to go.
Flicker or something. Yeah. Oh man,
yeah, it's sort of like those lawn darts.
Yeah.
You throw them in, and the heavy end will end up, hitting the target.
I guess so. Well, awesome, man. That's I never knew these things existed, but now we know why they have no defensive fire. They're just used in melee. Wow, pretty simple. Imagine you have to be pretty brave to throw those up. Here's an interesting card, Forward Detachment. It's a new formation, and it just lets you make, not like the Soviets can take a mix of stuff anyways. They have so many options.
Yeah, the Ford detachment, that's your breakthrough units. Yeah, those are your exploitation units.
But there's, I don't know why you would bother with this. You can pretty much get all that stuff anywhere else. I mean, it doesn't, what is this? What's so special about this? Maybe it has the SU-76 battery in the formation.
I don't know, but I know the exploitation force. They used to put a lot of T-34-76s, the older tanks with the smaller guns, out just to run them as fast as they could through the exploitation of the hole in the line there to get them as far down the road as possible.
Yeah. Well, this thing,
and German retreat.
This doesn't look significantly different than stuff we already have. I'm just trying to determine why would you? I guess because I don't know. I'm just looking at it. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. It must have.
Does it have anything to do with movement rates or anything like that?
No, it's just a card that says as a formation you take a and I guess there's no headquarters. Oh, you take a motor rifle headquarters or T-34 headquarters, and then you must take a T-34 tank unit, tank company, either Hero or regular, and you must take a Hero SMG. It says one Hero motor rifle company or one Hero SMG. And then so those are the mandatory. So then you can take another Hero tank company of T-34s or T-70s or Valentines, but then just 182 millimeter mortar, 176, and one anti-aircraft. I just don't see the difference except for the SU-76 battery. Basically, you could build this already with the list we've already seen. You just take either a tank company or a T-34 battalion or a motor rifle battalion, and you got this covered. But they don't get the SU-76 as a formation unit. So you don't have the anti-aircraft company. You don't have the towed anti-tank guns. Oh, no, it does have the anti-aircraft company. It just doesn't have the towed 76s, 57s, 45s. That's gone.
Right. So. This is all mobile unit. Yeah, totally mobile. No.
I'm surprised it doesn't have recon built into the formation, like BA-64.
I'm surprised. Yeah.
Okay.
Do they get scout function for the whole unit?
No.
Is that the special?
No, nothing. It's just a collection. There's no special rules. It's just a collection, and it's not significantly different than what we've already seen.
Yeah.
Unless you just really want to have SU-76 as part of your formation, but that's all.
Yeah, and you just do that by yourself on your
own.
Well,
you can take it as a support, but I'm just saying that's the difference there. It counts towards your formation morale. So, all right. Maybe someone can figure that out there, why you'd want to take that card or what it does.
Yeah, I got it.
Another one is a T-70 Reconnaissance Tank Company, another formation. This one, you get headquarters unit. It doesn't tell how much the headquarters unit costs. I guess you're going to have to pay the full 3 points for it. You get the well, no, it doesn't say that. It says you get one headquarters unit consisting of one T-70 from or maybe you get it for free since it's so cheap. Maybe they just give it to you.
No, all the T-70s are 1 point.
Yeah.
Across the board.
I'm tracking with that. I'm telling you, though, there's no place where you can buy one T-70, right? And it says you get a headquarters consisting of one T-70.
In the SU-76 formation, the headquarters for that is one T-70.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure it's 1
Was
point.
it LS-107? Because that's where it tells you to take it from.
Yeah, I think
it could be. In this case, it's free because it just tells you to take the tank from the platoon of 3, but you only get one of them. So, I kind of this needs a little FAQ on it to tell you how to do it. I'm guessing it's a free command tank because it's only 1 point anyway. So who gives a damn? And you have to take 2 to 3 units of T-70 tank companies with it. So since you have to buy all those T-70s, I think they're just giving you the headquarters tank for free because it doesn't tell you to pay for it. It says just take the tank from that platoon. Just take one of them. So anyways, we'll figure that out. Amphibious Jeep.
And point. It is 1 point.
Didn't say 1 point.
No, the headquarters T-70 for the SU-76 is 1 point.
Yeah, but that's not the one it's telling you to take it from. It's telling you to take it from LS-107, which is not having anything to do with 76 SU-76s. I mean, we're making assumptions. I'm just looking at the card, trying to understand what it's telling me, and what it says about 76s elsewhere doesn't really bear on the issue. I think it's a free command tank that just, for 1 point, that just gets wrapped up with the other ones. Whatever, it's either 1 point one way or the other. It's not like it's a big deal, right? But it needs to be FAQ'd, because it doesn't, it should take it for free or take it at the cost of 1 point. It should say something along those lines, or it should say take it, take it from that headquarters unit you were just talking about. But it doesn't say any of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, enough of those. Amphibious Jeeps. Okay, Jeeps that swim. Man, 3-point upgrade. Whew, that's a lot for swimming Jeeps.
Yeah, GPCs. Yeah, those. Yeah, the Ford amphibious Jeeps. Yeah, they're great. I've got those
GPAs. Too. But 3 points.
That's right, GPAs.
3 points to upgrade 1 platoon. I'm not
amphibious.
Yeah, 3 points.
Great for the new river crossing scenario.
Yeah, well, if we're doing a scenario, I'm not worried about points. We're playing some sort of historical scenario formation. I'm just saying 3 points. I mean, would I take this ever in a tournament? No. I mean, when do we see impassable water in tournaments? Not that much. Oh, great. 3 points so they can cross the pond. Oh, I just not seeing a lot of utility there. Motociclisti, which are the motorcycle guys. So Decoy Tank Company. This is super cool. You're going to see a lot of use of this. And this lets you take up to 3 Panzers. And you can take 3 Panzer IVs for 4 points apiece, 3 Stugs for 4 points apiece, 3 Panthers for only 7 points apiece, or 1 Tiger for 8 points. It gets the spearhead rule for the unit. And they're aggressive. So like all the other Soviet stuff, hit on 3s. Confident for morale, not super great. Green for skill, so no shoot and scoot, blitz, and all that stuff. But 3 Panthers for 7 points a pop, 21 points for a Panther unit. And unlike the previous versions of the decoy tanks, the rate of fire is still the normal rate. So it'll be rate of fire 2 stationary. Before they were rate of fire 1, they dropped them down. Yeah. So pretty interesting. Oh, and by the way, this takes the place of a BA-64 armored recon platoon slot. So they also become your recon. All right, and then the heroes. So we'll wrap up here in a second. We got Vasily Kryosov. He's a 5-point warrior. He gets to have a halter rate of fire. He uses his halter rate of fire if he only goes 6 inches or less. So, but that's just for the headquarters guy. And he also re-rolls failed to hit if the tank has not moved this turn. So that's pretty expensive upgrade. And he goes on T-30.
Yeah,
he goes up on Su-85s or Su-85. That being said, re-roll hit from an AT-12. It could pay off. Next guy, Ivan Zabolante, and he goes with the sapper engineer guys, and he costs 7 points. And when he gives the unit spearhead, and then he lets them pass rally and counterattack on a 2+. Again, super expensive, 7 point for 1 hero infantry team. Or it's an upgrade to your headquarters. I mean, it's not even getting new teams out of it. Next guy, Alexander Pilchin. We know him from version 3. He's the penal company former lieutenant. They got sent to the penal company, and he cost only 2 points. And he, once per turn, you get to re-roll a failed save. So there you go. That's pretty cool. That's because, remember, he has the nurse on the base.
Yes.
So, there you go. You get the effect of that. And he crosses minefield himself on a 3+, and he automatically clears minefield in the next turn. It says the unit leader may clear the minefield automatically. I wonder if that still has the other requirements, like no move, no shoot. And then after deployment before the first turn, he can relocate his platoon, or company in his case, 12 inches. But they don't spearhead out. They just have to move so they can, slide around in the deployment area before the game starts. Like, oh, they're over here, and they put the ranged in marker on them there. And like, no, we're not over here. We're actually over here in these buildings. So you have to readjust those. Yeah. Vasily Strozahenko. He's 4 points, hangs out with T-34 85s, and gives them spearhead. and once per turn, he can reroll one shot that missed. Spearhead on T-34-85s for 4 points with a 1 reroll dice a turn. Maybe.
That sounds good.
Vasily Bryukov. He's 2 points. He's another T-34-85 Bubba. And the unit's leader does not suffer the +1 to hit when shooting at a team with concealment. But it still suffers from concealment and gone aground when they're used together. Okay, well, 2 points to pick out panzers from the bushes better. All right. Next dude, Nikolay Sheshinskin, 8 points. He's a IS-152 guy. And what does he get for 8 points? He gets to re-roll the first attempt every turn. So instead of 3 dice to range in, he effectively has 2 dice for the first roll and then 1 dice for the second and third. That's
okay.
And he also does not suffer from slow firing. That's just his tank. So 8 points. 8 points to get that extra range in on your ISU-152s. Yeah,
right.
That could be, I don't know, there's some very expensive heroes here. Oh, and he's the last fellow. Woo! There you go. Sorry, man. That was a lot of time. I only had the cards. I didn't have them. So, okay. So what do you think there, Ed?
I think I've got a lot of options that I didn't have before.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to take me time to look through them all and figure out which one's the best. But I'm going to put together a fun force for us tomorrow.
Yep.
Just see how it goes.
Well, cool. Well, we'll look forward to that, and we'll cover that here briefly. Get back to we'll take a break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about that. So, anyways, do you think this is going to have a big impact on the gaming scene?
I think it is.
I mean, now that we have true late war options for the
I think a lot of Russian victories now. So, that's going to be a challenge for the German player.
Yep. Well, we'll see how well it goes tomorrow. I'm looking forward to our game, but I think this is great. It's a 100-page book. So, and the command cards, as always, the command cards are almost exponentially increase the options that you have in the baseline book. So I can't see too many people having gripes. Is there anything in here that you think's missing that you want it to have?
No, I'm surprised we put the RPG 6s in there. Yeah, that's going to be plus you can have the Panzerfaust as well. That's going to be pretty devastating.
Yeah, welcome back to the game, Soviet infantry.
Yep. Yeah, I can see the infantry ruling the day.
Especially in defensive battles, man. If they can get out there and, they can, spearhead and get out a little deeper, or not too many missions they can do, but man, they can really cluster a lot of bodies around an objective and make it very hard for anybody to get in there at them. And sure, they can kill them with bombardment. It's going to take all damn day to kill them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Infantry swarms just swarming on the board.
All right. Well,
just open the Germans.
Well, that was a super long segment. Thanks for hanging with us, guys. We'll take a break and then we'll come back.
Target. Ceasefire.
All right. Well, Ed and I are back after playing our first game using the Bagration Soviet book with Ed playing Soviets and Tom playing German, D-Day Germans, and with the SS Tigers in support. So Ed wanted to try IS-2. So why don't you tell us about your IS-2 regiment there, Ed?
Yeah, I have 21 of these things, and so no, I didn't bring all of them for the battle.
Right.
And so I did bring a combination force. It was an IS-2 heavy tank battalion. The commander, of course, being an IS-2, and my first platoon was an IS-2 platoon with 5 tanks. My second platoon was an IS-85, so I wanted that on there. It was a 40-point just in case I got a reserve. That was an easy one platoon to do that.
Okay. Was that also 5 tanks?
It was 5 tanks also.
But an IS-85s are actually more expensive, though, right?
They were.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. They were, but the advantage with that was, and I weighed that, it had the 2 shots stationary, and so it did get the 1 shot on the move, and so I took that. It also has a better cross rate, so and that came into play a little bit on the game here that we played today. But that was that, and then I had the engineer / sappers,
assault pioneer sappers.
Yes. And I only took the small group there. It was 8 stand force, but it allows you to switch out. some up to 6 of your stands for either a heavy machine gun or PPRD and a flamethrower. Did I say heavy machine gun? Heavy machine gun also.
Yeah, and also the
81
and the
millimeter mortar.
81 millimeters.
Right, and that's what I did. 3 of the stands I changed to the 81s, and 1 for a heavy machine gun. And so the other 4 stands were the regular submachine gun. And so it worked out pretty good. I think that was my 4. Oh yeah, and I had the aircraft
and
too.
Sturmovik,
standard 7-point Sturmovik for 100 points total.
Cool. Well, I knew that I was going to be facing IS2s, and I want to try to use something like John Meyer's list, but I forgot I don't have a lot of half tracks. So basically, I just used the D-Day Panzer Grenadiers with the 1/16th for the discount, and then backed those up with they had basically the headquarters. And the headquarters, by the way, had Panzer Shreks, but we never got a chance to use them.
Right.
And we had 2 platoons. They were short platoons, but then were plussed up by Panzer Shrek each. Sorry, the headquarters had Panzer Faust, and each of the 2 platoons had Panzer Faust. So they were basically 6 stands, 5 stands of machine gun teams, and 1 stand of Panzer Shrek with a floating Panzer Faust, and both are set up the same way. I had the 2 mortars, the 82 millimeter mortars.
81s.
Yeah, just a pair of those. Then I also had the 120 millimeter mortar platoon because I got to the point. What would I have? Like 8 points left. And,
8 points.
And I was just like, well, I guess they were 8 points. So, and they're also a formation unit, so just threw them in there. And actually, they got some pretty good use. And then the PAC 40s, the 4 7.5 centimeter guns. So that was the formation of troops that I had. And then for support, I had and they had the command card, the 1/16th Panzer Division Greyhound, and for support. Oh, and also I had the pack front, the 4 88s with pack front, and again, knowing I was going to be fighting a lot of heavy tanks, that's a pretty good choice. And the last thing I had was 3 SS Tigers, and almost the last thing. And I also had the 3-point regular reconnaissance, the SDKFZ 250/259 reconnaissance unit. And so it was set up so that if I had to fight reserves, I'd have a lot of AT guns on the board, and my Tigers, and then the recon would be in reserve. They were exactly 40 points for the 2 of those. So pretty good mix for a 100-point game. And we went to the decision point for stance, and I was thinking Ed might try to go. He knew I was probably going to defend, and so he. I was thinking he may try to go to defend as well because he's done that in the past quite a few times. I was
kind of hinting that I might change the.
So I went with maneuver, which I seldom pick, and then you ended up with
attack
after all, and we rolled up counterattack for the mission. Yeah. And I thought it was an open board, and when we first looked at it, I was like, Ed, man, I got a lot. Ed set up the board, and I said, I got a lot of packs, man, and you don't want to with pack front with 88s, you don't want a big open board. And I thought the board was pretty dang open, but where he came in at, it was there was a small village and some woods and some other. It was just enough of annoyance for line of sight to actually break up. But the rest of the board was open. But where the fight occurred, it was pretty closed in terrain, a lot of broken line of sights, and you had a good chance to maneuver forward. So why don't you tell us what your attack plan was there, Ed?
Well, being that we were straight across from each other in that one half of the board, I decided to take my IS 85s, cross them through the woods, but still have some concealment there, and then engage his 88s. As you know, from that point, so I had 5 shots there. You know, that first move, that was a plan, and so still get that long range concealment there for their protection. And then with the IS2s, though, I was going to swing to the, in this case, swing to the left into the open area toward that open
middle
objective.
Of the board.
Right. And so the first turn, I didn't move those guys, though. I went ahead and focused their shots on a particular pack 88 there in the nest. And then I was going to send my engineers up the middle into the little town and engage his forward infantry platoon there. And so that's what I did. I didn't have too much, and then just pray that my air comes in.
They did.
Which they did. They came in 5 out of 6 turns, which was amazing. However, their results did not do much. So I only killed one.
One heavy mortar.
One heavy
20
mortar.
millimeter died. Yeah.
Yeah, and I engaged eventually his tigers twice. Got him, ranged in, and then missed.
Yeah.
Every time.
Right.
Yeah. And so that was sad.
Yep. They didn't help a whole lot. So no, it was pretty. And it took a while. I mean, we didn't really. I think your IS-85s on the hill, the Wooded Hill, they started taking fire losses first because I ambushed the Pac 40s directly across that open space from them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a long running gun duel, and the packs, you only would die if you rolled a 1, but you rolled a good number of 1s up on the hill.
I rolled a lot of 1s this game.
Yeah. But then I would usually oblige you with a failed firepower after that. So but one turn though, 2 tanks were lost to Pac 40s, so that was 2 out of 5. And then the 88, the Pac front 88s actually almost were still in a platoon formation. They were in a little area where Ed couldn't quite see them from where his mortars were at, but they were set up where they could shoot basically to the left or the right of the village that Ed's infantry were coming through. And they basically had to split their fire quite a few times against the IS-2s out in the wheat fields in the center of the board and the IS-85s up on the hill. So they went back and forth. We eventually whittled down the guys on the hill. Actually, you get down to 1 tank and then you try to charge them forward. Yeah. And the other tanks, the IS-2s, we eventually get them down to 2 tanks. And so things are just kind of and one thing that I was really surprised to find was that his flamethrowers have a defensive fire value of rate of fire of 4. And because when he came forward, he had the mortars in the back, so he only had the 2 flamethrowers, 2 submachine guns, and the heavy machine gun. That was that wasn't a whole lot. Even though my infantry platoons were small too, I really wanted to get in there and try to assault them. But when I looked and saw that even when they're pinned, those flamethrowers have a rate of fire of 4, like 8 shots. Nah, I'm not. That ain't happening.
Yeah, and they were in the building, so they had
And I got my mortars on you. They helped keep you pinned. At least one turn you stayed pinned.
That was key, that turn, because I was rolling forward, and my intent was to keep rolling them. But I couldn't move that turn, and that turn is when I needed to do it.
He made me back off, though, because what happened was he came through the town, got basically close range within 4 inches of my infantry. And fortunately, I was concealed and gone to ground, and the flamethrower still had to go for the 6s. So even with all those shots, they didn't hit the first time. I thought, okay, great, I'll assault them next turn. And then I saw their rate of fire on I was like, no, even if I pin you, I'm not going to be able to. So I decided to back off and just left a small, the section of mortars, the 2-tube section.
But that little section is what pinned me down, and that is what stopped me.
Yeah, and they also they didn't die. You killed one, and the other one stuck around and wouldn't go away. And,
I'm flaming the fool out of this guy, and he's still there.
Yeah, it was just one of those Iron Cross moments for that mortar team, just to sit there within close proximity to flamethrowers and still keep bombarding further away.
Yeah, that's right.
So, anyways, that infantry eventually got whittled down by my mortars. The 120s finally got in there and finally started getting some kills. Yeah. And we had a rules Tom forgot moment, but we'll come back to that later. And then the Tigers finally came in from the opposite corner, in that contact mission. Got a few kills from long range shots. But it really got down to the point where Ed had 2 IS-2s facing 3 Tigers. And he eventually technically won that fight. Yeah. They eventually wore down the Tigers. And these are SS Tigers. But unfortunately, on turn 6, where was your location of those Tigers?
I was IS-2s? 9 inches away from the objective.
Yeah. So he was just a little bit too far back. But so anyways, pretty close. If you had killed the Tigers, then you could have just gone on the concealed side, where those other side of woods, and the remaining 2 pack front guns would not have been able to get you, and you possibly could have just won the game. But at that point, my infantry, I had one infantry platoon that got kind of caught out in the open that I was trying to shift to the objective in the other quarter. Ed came up and machine gunned them. And
15 machine gun shots with my IS-2s ready to and only killed 2.
Yeah, 4 hits total. And no, you killed none. You killed none. You got you only got 4 hits and nobody died from that. Oh, no, you did kill 2. Yeah, you did kill 2, but they didn't get pinned. So they dug in later on. them and was successful, killed them, and I did some counterattack.
And you had here's the thing: you had Panzerfaust and Shreks.
Yeah,
out of the 6 shots that you took with those guys, only one Shrek hit, and then I bounced it with a 6.
Yeah.
And
they didn't help, and they eventually died to the man. So that was 2 platoons because you eventually got the
mortar section ran away.
The mortar section, but also he killed a lot of my guns. He killed half of the 88s,
right?
The pack front 88s, and he killed half of the pack 40s. So, in fact, the pack 40s were lucky; they could have been breaking already because you had those mortars on them the entire time, and they only ultimately ever killed 1, even with the repeat rolls. So, again, if you got veteran guns, and they save on 3s, you don't necessarily just have to get out another template,
Right.
I mean, you can roll poorly and they can go south, but they're pretty resilient. They can hang in there for a while.
Yeah.
So basically the game ended as a 7-2. You destroyed 2 platoons. And so what are your thoughts now of having run a IS-2 force at 100 points?
I think at 100 points, that was tough. I really did need some good indirect, and I didn't have that. And I had to whittle away my engineers, and the advantage for that to have just those little 81 millimeter mortars, which proved to be a good thing.
Yeah,
that I did. I was questioning that at the beginning of the game.
No, those
mortars, but it came in handy.
They did a good amount of damage. I think that was a wise choice.
Yeah,
I think what I would do is you had 5 tanks in each platoon, right?
Yeah, full.
I think I'd go 4. And use those points to beef up the engineers.
Yeah,
I don't think that
beef up the engineers and at least get an indirect battery.
Get rid of the Stormovic because it didn't do you much good.
That's because my rolls were just terrible. If I just had average rolls, and you had bad rolls too on save.
But if your point was to kill tigers with them, they're top armor too.
Yeah. Well, fine. Yeah.
I
don't know. I love for 7 points. I'm going to go with that, but I think your idea of going with 4 tank platoon that would have given me an extra battery.
Yeah, or something, or plus up those assault engineer guys. Mm-hmm. You could have. You
know what I forgot about on those?
I just now remember the smoke pot rule.
The smoke pot and the fact that they're armored from your.
That's we never had a melee. Is
that only in melee, or is that?
Melee.
Save.
No, that's normally in melee you don't get it.
There's a rule I forgot here.
Save right when you roll to hit against infantry, they're just dead. Mm-hmm. Those guys have a 6+ save. So close combat. So so that's.
I mean a 6 for a save for each one. So roll each one would have gone, and then if it's a 6, he lives through it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we never actually had close combat with infantry as much as I wanted to try.
You were getting close.
So and we probably would have forgotten that if we got in.
Yeah, I would have forgotten.
But the smoke. That's pretty cool. But I don't see where that would have helped you at all.
It could have helped me close the distance.
You weren't charging anyways because you had so
my commander's tank that I was keeping in the middle behind the engineers.
Yeah, but he was shooting all the time, so it would have blocked his shots too. So I don't think that you lost much by not using the smoke pots. Yeah. So
I needed more engineers.
And you also had the no, you did not have the Panzerfaust upgrade.
No, I did not. I didn't have the RPG-6 or the Panzerfaust. I didn't have the points.
Yeah, you didn't. So I think what could have happened is the way my force was set up with all 3 of my tigers off board and reserve. Mm-hmm. If that infantry force was bigger, I think they could have come in with those flamethrowers, man. Yeah. Holy cow! You could have rolled those guys right in and probably wiped out that infantry platoon that was forward.
Yeah.
And that would allow you to keep pressure against all those packs and all those because they're the next thing after you eat through the infantry platoon. Then you're into the pack front behind them, the pack 40s, and I don't think my guys would save well against those pioneer guys. So I think they were kind of like your hidden thing. Your secret weapon should have been the engineers, but because you put so much in the tanks, there wasn't enough of them to do what they had to do. So I would have, and I also jumped the start of it, but that's just me. You're gonna have to.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah. So okay, well, cool. So we had our first game with the good old Bagration Soviets, and we can try it again at some point. See if we can come back into it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we had a good treat over here the last week or so. We got a message from a fan. we have at least one. Rob Carper had a question that he wants to take a look at during the podcast, and it was specifically about multiple formations in the same force. He wants to know what are our thoughts about that. Like, our thoughts matter, but what the advantages are, the disadvantages, what point levels that you take them at, and then he wanted some suggestions for U.S. forces. So what do you think, Ed? Do you often take two formations?
Oh, I did that a lot when I was playing the North Africa, the Gazala campaign.
Yeah.
And it split it between the Italians and the Germans. I liked it because if I lost any one particular formation, I still had the option to carry on the battle with the other formation. And so that I like. And
yeah, that's an advantage. But also you have two formation commanders. So you have more command and control there.
That's exactly it.
Mm-hmm. But the disadvantage is that both formations are smaller and they're easier to break. And I did manage to break. Usually the Italians.
You broke the Italians.
Yeah, I usually beat up the Italians. Lower morale. But so it really comes kind of a period thing. So in late war, we rarely use two formations.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get. I mean, you can do it, but some folks will take some of the armored cars as a low light force. But basically, we start getting those medium tanks and
medium and heavy tanks. Yeah, that's when it costs points, and there's just no way to.
We see much less dual formation setups in late war. But mid war, where everything's cheaper tank wise. So like when I play my Crusaders, I'll run two formations at 70 points, almost 70 points, because the Crusaders are so cheap.
Yes.
They're, I think, what is it?
5 points for a platoon, 5 or 6 points for a mixed platoon.
Yeah, I think it's like 32 points for a whole formation of 16 tanks. Yeah, as a headquarters of 4 tanks and 4 platoons of 3.
So, and even with the card thing that you usually brought with that, it's less than 40 points. So we
don't use that anymore. We can't use the scout card. It's too expensive now. It's 2 points per platoon. So
well, even so, that you were able to get a lot on the board with that.
Yeah, well, in our campaign games, you normally fought a motor infantry company backed up by a Crusader squadron.
Yes.
So we had almost all of our games were all two formation games.
And you would clear me even with me planning on you doing that.
Yeah, and we were playing at 80 points because you didn't want to play at 100 points because of the firestorm stuff that was added in. So technically, those were all 80-point forces.
Yeah.
So yeah, still plenty. 80 points. That's 2 complete formations of Crusader tanks. Right. So I think it has a lot to do with the type of forces you're playing, the period. In Team Yankee, you don't think you see a whole lot of these until you get to 20 points. If you recall earlier in the podcast, the forces that played at the event out in Virginia a couple weekends ago, the what are they called? Desert Norms.
Desert Norms.
Desert Norms. Of the top 3 forces, 2 of them had multiple formations. The West Germans had 2 formations, and then the third place was U.S. Had 2 formations, and then there was a big Polish force in the middle. So we don't normally see. But I've seen a lot of.
Actually, I do recall it at Craig. We had an American guy who had an infantry force and a Sherman second force there, and so and he did pretty well.
Yeah, but you don't see a lot of that late war. Late war, 100 points. You're pretty much mostly sticking to one formation. The tanks are just expensive enough, and the guns are heavier and hit harder, so they're more expensive. So yeah, you can. And normally though, if you do reconnaissance, one of the recon company cards or something, you get them out there. So, anyways, it's kind of so it's very situational there, Rob. To answer your question, mid-war, you're probably going to do more of it. Late war, not so much. Team Yankee, probably once you get to 120 points. And for your specific question, he's playing Team Yankee US, so he's wanting to know what kind of ideas you'd have for multiple formations for that. And I would say easily, if you're playing M1s, no, right? You're not going to have the points for it. So
wasn't it John Holland's force that we looked at that had the Bradleys, the new stuff?
Yeah. So John Holland had he ran we kind of covered it earlier in the podcast, but he basically had a Bradley infantry force, and then he also had a Humvee infantry force.
Yeah, right.
And he also had a platoon of M1s hanging in there as well. So he was able to do it, but again, 120 points. So how often do you pay at 120 points? So I think he's got the right idea. If you want to go U.S., you got to go with that light infantry. I guess it's the 9th Infantry Division or 7th Infantry Division. Which one was it?
Both 7th and 9th were light.
No, the ones.
The 9th is our
the experimental one.
9th.
Okay, those the ones that are in the book. They have the rapid deployment stuff.
Yeah,
all right. So that's what he had on the side. So that's a pretty good bet. Take some of those. You get some more cheap tows. You get some infantry and some Humvees, and some additional ADA assets. So that's and the RDF tank if you can sneak that in, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's pretty cheap.
Yeah, those are cheap.
And it will help you, even though its armor is nothing to speak about. It has that hammerhead, so it stays concealed. And gone to ground, even when it's shooting. So that's its armor is not being hit. Mm-hmm. So there you go, Rob. Hope that answers your question. It's nothing really definitive. It's really it's all situational dependent. I think at 120 points you can do it with your U.S. just fine. Yeah. And I think if it's in Flames of War, it's harder. I think to come up with a good dual formation force in late war at the 100-point level. But mid war, very easy.
Now you just bought an American starter force for Team Yankee, right?
Yeah, I bought the starter box set.
You're gonna make that force. What are you planning on making it as?
Well, I'm actually overdosing on M1s. I'm gonna have well more M1s than I possibly. I intend to do an M1 IP tank company.
Okay.
And with I'm gonna paint the full thing. I'll probably only use 2 platoons, but M1 IP is backed up with Bradleys, and the reason is that's the way the company was when I first got there.
That's what I was asking. Is that why you're doing
Delta? But it's also pretty good game wise. The IPs as a tank are pretty well pointed tanks. They're not crazy like the M1A1s, M1A1 heavy combat. And then backed up by the tows, they give them some hard hitting TOW 2s to take out some heavy armor.
Right.
So I think that might be worthwhile. So that's probably what I'm going to do.
And I'm thinking about making a possible 2 formation force with the West Germans and Americans. So I'm thinking about doing that. If I can do that, I haven't looked into that, but I need to get. I've got the American infantry, I've got American M113s, and so I've got the M60s also. So I wanted something, for that late 80s force there. Yeah, that I would have been part of if I'd gone there.
My M60s will all be Israelis. They're all going to be dumped into my Israeli.
Yeah, that's cool.
Slowly building. But they got that starter kit, the new Team Yankee, just about to come out next month, and it's only $50.
I saw that.
$50 for you get 4 T80s, 3 T64s, and 2 BMP3s, and then you get 3 M1s.
3 M1s. It was it.
2 M60s, and then and 2 Bradleys. So I'm buying 2 of those box sets. I'm putting down 100 right off the bat. So I'm going to have enough M1s that I can do an M1 IP force and an M1A1 force. So I'll probably have both of them. And I'll paint up the M1A1 force probably for the desert just to do something different. Yeah. So that'll be pretty cool. So good deal. All right. So run those multiple formations you can. No reason not to. But it's all situational dependent. You just the points, the period. That's what's going to drive it. And then you also think, what does it bring to bear? Mm-hmm. What do you really get out of, what does one whole formation bring that you wouldn't have otherwise? Something to look at. But for your U.S. guys, I would say if you follow John Holland's model, like we talked about earlier in the podcast, you'll be all right. He's a pretty competent player. He knows what he's doing. Yeah. And so he's an ex-armor guy too. So he's still in active duty, but he's not in the armor force anymore. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, he knows what he's doing. So, and obviously he got 3rd place. So.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, so there you go, Rob. Hope that answers your question, and thank you very much for sending it in. And if anybody else out there has questions that we cannot answer efficiently, we'll be glad to.
We'll be happy to share our opinion.
Yeah. Well, I don't know to you. So if you got any other ideas or questions out there, go ahead and send them in. You can Facebook me if those who are connected with me on Facebook, or you can send them into podcast at battlebolt.com. That's podcast at battlebolt.com. All right. Now it's time for Rules and Forgot. Except for this one, it's me.
Yeah, you forgot it.
Yeah, it didn't. I don't think you forgot a single rule of that game.
No, I wasn't sure, but I thought I was right, and you weren't sure.
Yeah. So his commander for his platoon we were talking about in that last game, the IS-2 assault game.
Yeah.
his sapper engineer guys lost their command team. And so obviously someone else becomes the command team. But I wasn't sure that because it was a flamethrower, I wasn't sure if the flamethrower becomes a submachine gun team or if it stays the same team type. Because when you lose the formation commander, the formation commander actually replaces that. They actually switch. They actually, so that so in the case of the German infantry, the SMG guy, you swap him out with the Panzerschreck team. It's no longer a Panzerschreck team. It's now the SMG team. But for the unit leader, that's not the case. The unit leader, just somebody within 6 inches who's the correct troop type, is designated. And flamethrower is an infantry team. So you ended up with a flamethrower platoon leader or unit
flamethrower commander.
Yeah.
Now, had he been the formation commander?
Yeah.
Switching into as the, switching off with the flamethrower, then it would not have been able to do.
Well,
so.
first you got to roll for that to happen.
Yes, if he was successful, he could.
Then he
would have to remain his stand.
Yeah, he is what he is. So if the formation commander was, in your case, it would have been submachine guns.
Yeah.
Then you would have lost the flamethrower to become a submachine gun team. And actually, because the reason is because the commander is not part of the unit.
That's correct.
Right. He actually takes that flesh from the unit to stay alive, basically. Kind of zombie analogy here.
Yeah.
Nightmares. So he and so that's a lost team for that platoon.
Right.
Whereas the other one, when he switches at the unit level, it's not really an additional loss for the platoon. It's just the command baton is passed with
command and cross trained. Everybody can operate each other's stuff. A formation commander, not so much.
Yeah. All right. Well, then that brings us to our last segment here: future operations. We got nothing. We don't know what the hell's going on.
I don't know.
We went through a big spurt of 3 tournaments in a row. Over 2 weekends. That was pretty cool, and all 3 of them fairly well attended. But we do know that Indianapolis yesterday, they had the Able Company guys had a local tournament. So that if you didn't know about that, you thought you missed it. Don't worry about it. The reason you didn't know about it because it was locals only. They were trying to get some of their newer players in. I guess some of their experienced players are probably playing, slightly more fluffy lists to help the newer guys kind of get grips on the rules or something.
Not to crush the new guy.
I think their intent was kind of a learning development thing for the newer players. So they weren't really looking forward for outside folks, but also the COVID-19 thing. I think they also space limitations. So maybe the next time, Ed and I were talking about it, maybe Labor Day weekend, we can try to we'll talk to our game store. Maybe the situation is good enough for us to try to put something together.
Yeah.
We could even do a tournament over the week, just local one where we just have not everybody all at once, but we have games reported, and you could maybe we could play
do whatever location.
Yeah, right. If you want to play in your basement or your apartment or with the game store, you could but how you get 3 rounds of that's a lot of coordination, so it might be a little hard to do. So hopefully things will continue to improve, and we'll get more events going in the future. But so far, all the big stuff in the fall is done. Advance the Colors done. Origins done, not happening. I think Fallen back on the East Coast is canceled, done. The NashCon already would have been happening by now, done.
No, it was like the end of this month.
Maybe I think it got reloaded. This is this end of the month.
Already.
Yeah. This weekend is last weekend is still an August weekend, but almost there. So yeah, pretty. But we'll see. I think we'll probably see some other stuff posted here. I'm sure that the folks up in Minneapolis between D6 and what was the other game they have? Game store. They have 2 game stores. They seem to rotate back and forth between those 2. Still probably have some stuff coming up in the near future. So in any case, I think that pretty much about wraps us up there, Ed.
That's it.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing my IS2s there.
It's great.
Finally broke them out after 3 years. So.
Yeah, you'll have to get you play Germans, and I'll bring on my ISU 122s. We'll do the flip.
Yeah, that's right. I can do that.
Yeah, we'll do that. See, we'll give you a chance to, because I have a bunch of Soviets too. It's just Ed is a Soviet nut, so whenever we play. Whenever we play, he'll always pick Soviets if he gets a chance. Yeah, indeed. So all right, folks. Well, I think we'll just go ahead and sign off here. Please stay safe out there. Do your social distancing, masking. Hope you do get a couple games in, and we're happy that we're able to do so. And let us know how they're going and give us some feedback on the podcast at battlevault.com, or you can go to the No Dice, No Glory forums. And I'm always all over that, so you can give me any feedback there if or you have any suggestions or ideas or stuff you'd like us to cover. But we hope you enjoyed the overview of the Bagration and a little quick summary of our Bagration game. And we'll see you on episode 10 in September. All right, Ed, take us out of here.
All right, guys, that's it for us. And enjoy yourself, and we're going to try our best on our unknown future.
All right.